the legend of Saint Patricia. In a world where the boundaries between the physical and mystical blur, the legend of Saint Patricia, the patron saint of joint manipulation, emerges as a beacon for warriors and healers alike. In hushed tones and whispered tales, her story is passed down through generations, a testament to the power of belief and the mastery of martial arts. The origins of Patricia. Born in a village nestled between ancient forests and towering mountains, Patricia was no ordinary child. Her village, revered for producing the finest warriors and most insightful healers, was the perfect cradle for her unique talents. From a young age, Patricia displayed an uncanny understanding of the human body, intuiting its vulnerabilities and strengths with a mere touch. It was during the village's annual festival, a celebration of strength and spirit, that Patricia's remarkable talents first shone publicly. The festival's centerpiece, a wrestling contest, drew brave hearts from across the region to compete for honor and recognition. Amidst this fervor, a young champion named Alaric, renowned for his indomitable prowess, sustained a grievous injury. His shoulder, dislocated during a grueling match, defeated the healer's best efforts, leaving him in agony and despair over a future suddenly shadowed by incapacity. Patricia, then a mere child of 7, approached the forlorn figure of Alaric. With an innocence edged with confidence, she offered her aid. The onlookers watched, a mix of curiosity and skepticism in their gaze, as she gently cradled Alaric's injured arm. Her fingers, delicate yet assured, danced along his arm, feeling the alignment of bone and sinew, until her hands paused at his shoulder. With a deep breath, Patricia guided Alaric's arm in a slow, deliberate arc, her movements guided by an unseen force of understanding. Then, with a tender but firm motion, she realigned his shoulder, the joint slipping back into place with a subtle, resounding ease. The relief on Alaric's face was immediate, his arm restored not by brute force or arcane magic, but by the precise application of knowledge far beyond her years. Silence enveloped the crowd as Alaric moved his shoulder, testing, feeling the return of strength that moments ago seemed lost forever. Murmurs of disbelief turned into cheers of awe, the story of Patricia's miraculous intervention under the ancient oaks spreading like wildfire. Her fascination with the art of joint manipulation began when an old wanderer, a master of the martial ways, visited her village. Patricia, then but a girl of 10 summers, watched in awe as the master demonstrated the elegance and potency of the wristlock, a technique that could disarm the mightiest foe with grace. The seed of destiny was planted in her heart that day. The rise of the wristlock warrior. Determined to master the art that had captivated her soul, Patricia embarked on a journey across the land. She sought the wisdom of hermits living in the solitude of the mountains, of warriors hardened by countless battles, and of healers whose knowledge of the body's secrets was unparalleled. The first leg of her quest led her to the craggy peaks of the Whispering Mountains, where it was said that hermits who had transcended the physical bounds of martial arts resided. The path was arduous, a winding trail through thickets and over jagged rocks, each step a testament to her commitment. As she ascended, the air thinned, and the world below stretched out like a vast, unending canvas. High above, where the air whispered secrets lost to the wind, Patricia found her first mentor, an ancient hermit known only as Maestro Niven. His home was a cave adorned with scrolls and artifacts from ages past, each a relic of martial wisdom. Maestro Niven, with eyes that gleamed with the light of untold knowledge, saw in Patricia a spark rare and profound. Under his tutelage, Patricia learned the essence of movement and stillness, the dance between action and anticipation. Niven taught her that the mastery of joint manipulation was not in the force, but in the harmony with the natural flow of the body. Days turned to months as Patricia absorbed lessons that transcended the physical, her spirit and understanding deepening with each whispered secret and practiced move. Leaving the mountains with a heart heavy with gratitude but hungry for more, Patricia's journey next led her to the fields of valor, where warriors tested their mettle in endless combat. Here, amidst the clash of steel and the roar of the brave, she sought the wisdom of battle-hardened veterans, those whose bodies were maps of scars, each a lesson in survival and strategy. From them, Patricia learned the resilience of the human body, the limits of pain, and the triumphant power of the spirit. She trained alongside these warriors, her wristlocks becoming fluent in the language of combat, a harmonious blend of grace and lethality. The warriors, skeptical at first, soon came to respect this young woman, whose technique could disarm without harm, whose strength lay in understanding and adaptation. Her final teacher awaited in the Valley of Healing, a place where the air was thick with the scent of herbs and the murmur of ancient chants. Here, healers who could mend flesh and bone with a touch and a word took Patricia under their wing. They unveiled to her the body's secrets, the intricate tapestry of life energy that wove through muscle and bone, sinew and soul. Patricia learned the art of healing, the gentle manipulation of joints to restore and rejuvenate, to bring relief where there was pain. Her wristlocks, once a means of combat, now became tools of healing, imbued with the knowledge of how to mend, to care, and to understand the whispers of the body. With each master, Patricia's understanding of her art grew deeper, her soul richer with the wisdom of the ages. She became a bridge between worlds, her wristlocks a synthesis of combat and care, of strength and gentility. When at last she returned to her village, it was not as the girl who had left, but as a master in her own right, her name soon to be legend. Patricia, the patron saint of joint manipulation, had fulfilled her quest, her soul captivated not just by the art, but by the profound connections it revealed between all living things. With each master, Patricia honed her skill, her understanding of the wristlock deepening until it became an extension of her very essence. But it was her innovative spirit that set her apart. Patricia saw beyond the wristlock as a mere technique for combat. She envisioned it as a means of healing, a way to realign and restore the body's harmony. The battles and miracles. Word of Patricia's mastery spread far and wide, drawing her into the tumult of battles that raged across the lands. With her wristlocks, she turned the tide of wars, disarming enemies without bloodshed, protecting her people with her unparalleled skill. But it was her miracles that truly built her legend. With the gentle twist of a wrist, she healed the sick, mending bones and soothing pains that had defied all other treatments. Her most whimsical feat, uncorking the most stubborn of wine bottles with a flick of her wrist, delighted friends and followers, adding to her mystique. Among the many tales that wove the rich tapestry of Saint Patricia's legend, none was quite as beloved or as recounted with a twinkle in the eye as the tale of the stubborn wine bottle. This particular story occurred not on a battlefield, nor in a grand hall of healing, but during the humblest of village celebrations, where her miraculous abilities were displayed not as a warrior or healer, but as a friend and patron of joy. The village had gathered to mark the end of harvest, a time when the fruits of their labor were celebrated and shared amongst all. Tables laden with the season's bounty stretched across the village square, but it was a singular, aged bottle of wine, a gift from a neighboring land, that became the focal point of the evening's festivities. This wine, rumored to be as fine as any celestial ambrosia, had one daunting challenge. Its cork, swollen and aged, refused to yield to any corkscrew or knife presented by the village's strongest and most cunning hands. As frustration grew and the prospect of tasting the legendary wine seemed to dim, Patricia stepped forward, her presence calming the growing tumult. She requested the bottle be handed to her, her request met with skeptical glances and bemused chuckles. Yet, as the bottle was placed in her hands, a hush fell over the crowd, a collective breath held in anticipation. With the bottle cradled gently in one arm, Patricia studied the stubborn cork, her fingers tracing its edges, feeling the tension between cork and glass that had defied so many. Then, with a smile that hinted at unseen worlds of knowledge, she positioned her thumb and forefinger at the neck of the bottle, her grip seemingly delicate, yet imbued with an imperceptible strength. In a movement as fluid as the rivers that wound through their lands, Patricia applied her technique, a twist not of brute force, but of precise, knowing pressure. It was the application of her deep understanding of balance and leverage, a principle fundamental to her mastery of joint manipulation, now applied in the most unexpected of contexts. To the astonishment of all, the cork eased out of the bottle's neck with a sound that was part sigh, part song, a testament to Patricia's understanding of the natural laws that govern all things, living or inanimate. The wine flowed freely, its aroma rich and promising, a symbol of shared joy and the breaking of boundaries. That evening, as the village reveled in the taste of the wine and the warmth of shared laughter, Patricia's deed with the wine bottle was whispered as a miracle, a playful yet profound display of her mastery. It was a moment that transcended the mere uncorking of a bottle. It was an illustration of Patricia's philosophy that the principles of martial arts, of balance, understanding, and the gentle application of force could bring joy, solve the mundane puzzles of life, and indeed make the world a more harmonious place. From that day forward, the tale of Patricia and the stubborn wine bottle wove itself into the fabric of her legend, a story recounted with smiles and raised glasses. It served as a reminder that the transcendent power of the wristlock, and indeed of all martial arts, lay not just in combat or healing, but in the ability to enhance every facet of life, bringing people together in moments of shared humanity. The legacy and skepticism. As the sun of Patricia's renown reached its zenith, casting long shadows across the lands she had traversed, the air became thick with whispers of skepticism. In a world where might often made right, where the clashing of swords often spoke louder than the whisper of leaves, the subtlety of Patricia's art faced scrutiny. Critics emerged like spring floods, swift and unforgiving, challenging the validity and potency of her techniques. They could not fathom how the delicate manipulation of joints could stand against the brute force that had dominated battlefields and healing halls for centuries. Patricia, however, faced this rising tide not with defensiveness, but with the grace and openness that had characterized her journey. She welcomed skeptics as she would any student, with arms wide and heart open, ready to share the wisdom she had gleaned from the mountains, fields, and valleys. In villages and towns, before doubting eyes and folded arms, she demonstrated the elegance and power of her wristlocks, not through combat, but through healing, through acts of compassion that left the most vocal critics speechless. In one memorable instance, a warrior named Corvus, renowned for his prowess and skepticism of anything that did not fit his narrow view of strength, publicly challenged Patricia. Before the gathered crowd in the town square, Corvus towered over Patricia, his challenge clear. Patricia, with a serene smile, asked only that Corvus extend his arm. With the crowd holding its breath, she applied a gentle yet precise wristlock, not to harm, but to demonstrate. Corvus, expecting pain or humiliation, found instead a moment of enlightenment, as his arm, previously stiff from years of battle, moved with a freedom he had not known since his youth. The crowd erupted, not in cheers for a battle won, but in awe of a lesson imparted. Corvus himself, now a believer, became one of Patricia's most fervent advocates. Yet, for all the minds she changed and hearts she won, Patricia knew her path was a solitary one. Her disappearance, shrouded in the mists of an early morning, remains as much a part of her legend as her life. Some say she returned to the solitude of the mountains to live out her days in meditation. Others whisper of a journey to distant lands, where her teachings would seed new traditions. Her legacy, however, remained indelible, a myth that refused to fade. The teachings of Saint Patricia, though often cloaked in the skepticism of new generations, continued to inspire. Martial artists and healers, in quiet dojos and hushed halls, practiced the wristlocks that had once turned the tide of battles and mended the unhealable. Her story, a beacon in the darkness for those who sought a different path, proved that true strength lay, not in the force of the blow, but in the understanding of balance, harmony, and the human spirit. In the end, Saint Patricia's greatest miracle was not a healed warrior or a subdued opponent. It was her enduring influence on the hearts and minds of those who followed, a testament to the power of belief, the resilience of spirit, and the enduring strength of subtlety in a world accustomed to brute force. The echoes of Saint Patricia. Today, the spirit of Saint Patricia lives on, not just in the tales told by the fire, but in the hearts and hands of those who practice the art of joint manipulation. A young practitioner, tracing the lineage of her techniques, finds in Patricia's story a source of inspiration and strength, a reminder that the true power of martial arts lies not in domination but in harmony and healing. Saint Patricia's legend, a blend of history and myth, continues to captivate those who seek to understand the deeper connections between body, spirit, and the martial path, proving that legends, like wristlocks, can hold a grip on the imagination that transcends time.